Meet Dr. Karen Kennedy, a veterinarian. When Dr. Kennedy started her practice, she was asked to sign a veterinary office lease by her landlord. The lease is one of the most expensive contracts you will ever sign in your career, carefully engineered by landlords to maximize the value of their properties by giving them control over your premises, putting you and your clinic at risk. Sadly, Dr. Kennedy made the same mistake that thousands of veterinarians make every day. She signed off on the 10-year lease as is, without any idea as to how the details within it would impact her practice in the years to come. This is Dr. Kennedy's story. 3 years later, the landlord moves another veterinarian in next door. Dr. Kennedy tries to appeal to the landlord, but is quickly silenced as her office lease contains no exclusivity rights that prevent the landlord from moving competitors into the building. Dr. Kennedy suffers a decline in revenue and new customer flow. In an attempt to attract new business, Dr. Kennedy expands her services by offering retail products and boarding services at the clinic. Unfortunately, this idea is short-lived when she's informed that the use provisions in her lease prevent her from offering these services because they fall outside the scope of veterinary medicine. 5 years later, the tenant adjacent Dr. Kennedy requires more space and requests an expansion from the landlord. The landlord uses the relocation rights in the lease to relocate Dr. Kennedy to a smaller space in the building with no windows or direct outdoor access. All relocation expenses are Dr. Kennedy's responsibility, including the complete clinic build-out from scratch. 10 years later, the doctor gets notice that her lease has expired, and she must A. renew the lease with a 27% rental increase, or B. vacate the premises and relocate her clinic in the next 30 days. Panicked, the doctor renews the lease at the substantially higher rent for another 10 years, paying approximately $13,000 more in rent per year, resulting in over $100,000 in additional rent over the new lease term. With 2 years left on her lease term, the doctor plans to retire from a long and rewarding career. She finds a buyer and they agree to the terms of the deal, which is $700,000. Unfortunately, at the 11th hour of the sale, Dr. Kennedy suffers a terrifying awakening when she discovers that 50% of the practice sale proceeds go to the landlord as outlined in the assignment clause in the lease, a $350,000 mistake that over 50% of vets have in their leases today. Exhausted and defeated, Dr. Kennedy exits her clinic of almost 20 years, leaving a lot of value on the table with a less than comfortable retirement savings plan. These are just some of the expensive yet preventable challenges that veterinarians face every day. The remedy? Know what's in your lease and have it professionally reviewed for risks before you sign or renew it. Cirrus Consulting Group is dedicated to protecting veterinarians from these and other traps hiding in your lease. Whether you're starting or buying a practice, renewing your lease in the next 24 months, relocating, expanding, remodeling, or transitioning, we can help. Schedule your complimentary lease consultation today.